So today's session, we're covering website must-haves and SEO. It's a really large topic, so I'll break it down into bite-sized pieces over these 7 weeks. Okay, so website essentials. A really, one of the most important things is to have user-friendly design. So what does that mean? That means making it easy for your visitor to as soon as they hit your homepage, immediately understand what your business is about. What are you offering? And then where do you want to guide them to through this buyer's journey to make that purchase or that inquiry? So I often see a lot of websites that have the content is not thought through and not designed properly. So it might be, huge paragraphs or not much writing on the homepage at all, or perhaps not very strong imagery. Having strong images and hiring a professional photographer is not just an expense for your business, it's an investment, and having strong photography will increase conversions without a doubt. It just, it allows people to immediately see what your business is about, and make that you've got about two to 3 seconds to grab a visitor's attention once they arrive on your website. So through strong images, they will stay on and go through that journey. The other really key point is we only read about 16 to 20% of a website. So bear that in mind when you're putting together the content. So, and that's when I talk about designing the content. So that can be making sure it's beautifully laid out, very clearly laid out. You're using headings, bullet points, and icons in the design. And I'll show you a couple of really nicely designed examples in a moment. The other important thing is when you're preparing your website, or you might be giving your website a refresh, have a think about that, especially on your homepage, but on every page, that content hierarchy. So what do I mean by that? It's really getting your content organized, and going through and trying to put yourself in your potential customers' shoes. What information do they need to see first? Is it, a summary about what the business is? Is it your contact details? So just have a think through what is going to be the most engaging content that needs to be first, and then you can layer that down. So often, it's a summary of what your business is about. That's really key. And then another important point is to guide people on each page by having clear calls to action. So whether that is a book now button, an inquire now form, or it mightn't be your goal for the visitor to purchase. You might just want them to sign up for some content. So you've created a lead magnet and you would like them to sign up. So be really clear with the way things are laid out, and with your calls to action. And I think that's another we'll talk about content later in this series, but if you bear in mind that only about 5% of your visitors are going to be ready to purchase. They're not in the purchasing phase of a cycle. They might be just starting to get to know you. They're in that discovery phase. They might be considering a purchase, so they're going back to research. And what you really want to do is to capture their email address. So you need to give them a reason to do that. But we'll discuss, and that's where a lead magnet comes in, and we'll discuss things like that in our content creation section further down this series. And then most importantly is making sure your website is optimized for search. And all these factors, user-friendly design, I'm sure you've all heard of Google's algorithm. And this year especially, user-friendly design is going to be part of that formula of the algorithm. So if you've got a confusing website where your navigation's not clear, people don't know what to do on a page and they'll just jump straight off, that's going to be a sort of a cross against your website in the eyes of Google. So that's why we want to also make sure that the design is great. Because what Google, we're not creating a website for Google, we're not writing for Google, or designing for Google, we're designing for the user. And Google knows that now. So if your visitors are not having a great experience on the website, then Google will essentially penalize you for that. So that's why it's important to get these, to just have a really well organized structure and design. And so that is one element for search. And so then we move into the area of SEO. So throughout this 7-week journey, I'm going to use this useful SEO roadmap where we look at the pathway to getting your website optimized. And it does need, it needs time. It does take an effort, and optimizing a website takes time to see results as well. However, I was reading an article this morning which I think illustrates why this is a worthwhile investment for your business. So 90% of clicks on the homepage of Google go to the clicked on organic search rather than the advertising. So that means that those websites and your competitors who have spent the time, energy, and perhaps money on optimizing their websites properly are going to reap the rewards without having to spend money on advertising. So I think that's always a useful point to understand. So today we are going to talk about keyword discovery, and especially keyword research. This is the starting point for your SEO. Just to summarize, so when you start your keyword research, just get pen and paper, sit down and have a think what you think the topics might be that are relevant to your business. So these are the topics that you think people will be searching for in your business. So whether it is, accommodation, Gold Coast, or, boat hire, Brisbane, just have a think, put your pen to paper and write a list. Then the next step in this process, and I'll have a look at these tools in a moment, is you need a bit of software to conduct research. And when you're conducting this keyword research, this is what gives you real life data coming from especially Google, and it's invaluable, because you might have an idea in your mind, of what your customers are searching for, and once you do the research, you realize, no, that's not correct, or there's additional keywords that they are searching for that will actually be profitable for your business. So that's the first tool is software, and my favorite is a new one to the market. It's called Ubersuggest, and we'll have a look at that. And then there's another great bit of software that is called Keywords Everywhere that I have sitting in my browser, and I can turn it on. It's very, I think you only need to spend about $10 on it. And it's a great way to get this data as well. But I'll show you these tools in a moment. The other way to find out what people are searching for is Ubersuggest. So when you type in your keyword idea into the Google search bar, it will bring up some suggestions, and we'll have a look at that in a moment. Another useful way to get an idea of what people are searching for, or indeed asking for, is ask your customers. If you've got if it's whoever's manning, the phone, what are these frequently asked questions that people are asking, and maybe that could be part of your keyword research, or indeed part of your blogging strategy, which we'll talk about later, because blogging is very important to your SEO strategy. But that's for another topic. And then after you've done your keyword research, we really want, some of you might have done this before. A few years ago, about 3 years ago, Google's algorithm changed, and we started using what's called topic clusters, or if you think of topic buckets. So what these are instead of just having one single keyword that was optimized on one single page in your website, this caused websites to be bloated. So the algorithm changed, and it's smart enough now to recognize that if I'm searching for accommodation Brisbane, that it will also pull up in the search results other accommodation Brisbane related. So it could be 5-star accommodation Brisbane or luxury accommodation Brisbane. So our goal when we're doing the keyword research is to, first of all, list what keywords relate to our business, and then divide them into topics of closely related keywords. And these are called topics, and it is called a topic cluster strategy. So that's essentially the, sorry, I'll just, that's an overview of our keyword research. And I just want to show you some practical examples of how I do this, because it just helps to understand. So here I've got, I've optimized, I've been searching. So this is an accommodation property. They are I guess that you would classify it as a house rental. Now they're in the region called Yarra Valley, but they're also in a sub-region of the Yarra Valley called Warburton. So I've done my keyword research here, and we've got, it's really important to look at the volume. So you might have a keyword and this happens a lot. You think, oh, I know what that keyword is. I'm going to optimize my website for that. You do it, and then you realize it's only got 10 searches a month. So that's a waste of time. So we really want to look at these, sort of 50 and above, I guess. And then, otherwise it's just not worth putting the time and the effort. Sure, if you've got extra time to optimize these 10 searches a month, that's great. But we want to get a nice list together that has good search volume. So here we've got Warburton accommodation, we've got best accommodation Yarra Valley, holiday accommodation Yarra Valley, group accommodation Yarra Valley. My main keyword here, which I haven't bolded, is Yarra Valley accommodation. Now that's 4,400 searches. And you might think, oh, great, yes, let's go for that. Now, it's going to be a highly competitive keyword. And what that means is there's a lot of people optimizing, you know, competing for that space on the front page of Google. And that if you can find a sort of another keyword that is not so competitive within your research, I would go for that first. But here, so here probably what I would optimize is Warburton accommodation. It's 1,000 searches a month, and it is, sorry, we have keyword difficulty here. So that's this data comes from Google, and it's based on their pay-per-click advertising. So that's quite a difficult one to optimize, but I would still do it for a business. What that means is it would just take a longer time to something that's not as competitive. So if I was going to optimize Warburton Rail Trail accommodation, where this property is located, there's a rail trail. So this is people searching for rail trail accommodation. Now, if I did even a blog post for that, that won't take too long to start appearing in the Google search results. But yes, so my starting point here would be Warburton accommodation there, and then and I would actually, you know, I was talking about the buckets, and I would put for me, I'd put all these in the one bucket. I'll give you another example where I have a conference venue. Now they have a bucket of keywords that all relate to conference venue hire Melbourne, but they also have another section of their business that is group accommodation for tourists. So there we've got two keyword buckets, and so we break those up. So you'll find in your business, you might just have, if you're in Kununurra, for example, in the Kimberleys. I've just completed an exercise doing keyword research for them, and we have only 5 keywords that we think will drive traffic to the business. So it might just be that, as simple as that. You might have a much bigger business that has multiple buckets of keywords. So yeah, so that's the start of doing our keyword research. Now, a great tool for keyword research. This is a new, there's a lot of tools out there that offer free keyword research, their software. And I'm finding that a lot of them, where you could use them for free, you don't get accurate data. And even with this one, I don't. So the ones out there, so this is a new one, and it's called Ubersuggest. There are ones that you might have used in the past or heard of called SEMrush or Moz. And I find that the Moz free version, it does give you an idea of keywords, but it's not the data is not accurate. So my recommendation is to sign up to something like Ubersuggest. It's really easy to use, and it gives you a 7-day free trial. So you can sign up, do your keyword research, and then close it down, or keep it. It's $29 a month, so it's perfectly affordable to get this really valuable information. So this would be my favorite. It's the most cost effective, and it gives you really good detailed information. The other one I mentioned, now you'll see I'm getting this information here. I'm getting search volume is 3,600 a month, and I'm cost per click and the competition. So I'm getting rich data there. And this was keyword. This is a little browser plugin called Keyword Everywhere, and I'm using a Chrome browser plugin, and it is here, and I think it costs. I'm sure you put it in, add it to Chrome, and then you have to pay, and it gives you like about 10,000 searches for $10 or something like that. So it's a really cheap way of doing it. And you see here you can export your CSV file. So that's also a great way to do that. Now, and as you saw, that's my other, so once you've used this one of these pieces of software, you can easily export your keyword research into a CSV or Excel file, or upload that to Google Sheets. It might be an option for you. So, and then you can start getting it organized. Okay, so I think that's sort of an overview of keyword research, and look forward to seeing you on the next session.